Raw camera files are high quality, unprocessed, and can be huge as datasets. Each camera has their own codec. Now let's look at an overview for these formats.
The information available in our properties will change depending on the camera format and the information available through the SDK provided by the camera manufacturer. The first clip we'll look at is an RE RAW file. Here we'll read in .ari, .arx, and REMXF files. The metadata here will provide us with many choices on file handling. Processing will be helped along with the GPU and CUDA. There are clip settings if we are manually adjusting properties like the color space from the metadata, exposure, temperature, or anamorphic squeezing. The processing section will give us access to debarring modes and additional fine-tuning. The look editor is unlocked if we are using video encoding as a color space. Lastly, we have an option to choose a proxy playback. This is driven from the RE SDK and is separate from the timeline proxy functions. Loading the settings from the metadata will reset any of the changes we've made.
Next, let's look at Blackmagic RAW. Its properties are different and we have other options available. Currently, the decoding is using the camera metadata, but we can switch it to the clip to enable the other properties. The decoding resolution is set to full and can be adjusted down to 1/8. We are helping the processing using our GPU and CUDA. There is an option for the color science generation. Gen 4 is not currently supported as Blackmagic works on releasing the color science. There is a Gen 4 selection available in case users want to generate their own custom solution in the meantime. We have settings for the exposure, temperature, and other tuning. We can disable the embedded LUT. The gamma controls are enabled when using the Blackmagic Design custom setting. If we are creating a custom look, we can save out a sidecar file that will be saved next to the clip on disk. If this sidecar file exists, pressing the Reload Parameters button will reset the clip to the settings in the sidecar file. If there is no sidecar file, then the button will reload to the original parameters.
Next up is Red. The properties give us access to image pipeline with IPP2. We can load all the settings from the file metadata and all the property sliders will adjust accordingly. With CUDA support, we can process the GPU for increased performance. Red has many levels for decoding. If you're using a Red Rocket, you can set up a custom decode resolution. Hiero has global and project settings for decoding Red files. Through the global preferences, we can adjust which decoding resolution Red files as they are ingested. This can also be set on a project level. If HDRX was enabled on the camera during filming, we will have access to its properties through the metadata. The look section will give us a large amount of control over color, gamma, exposure, temperature, clipping, and fine-tuning. Lift, gamma, and gain will have its own color controls where we can make adjustments. We can reload the setting from the file to reset all of our changes. The last camera raw data we're going to look at is from Sony. We can use the GPU if OpenCL is available. We have options for our gamut, exposure, and temperature. Debarring quality can be changed, relative resolution, or proxy, and the option to flip the image in different directions. You can see that each of the cameras allow different access to different properties from the SDK. Various degrees of information is available in Hiero as the SDKs are updated from the manufacturers. Some of these camera formats have quite a few properties, and if you're ever unsure of what something does, be sure to hover over it for the tooltip.